Okay, Bio 2, we are continuing on with plants today. We're looking at section 2, and this section focuses on roots. So to get right into it, first we're going to look at what are the two main types of roots. So we have two main types of roots, and remember, roots are what's going to anchor the plant to the ground and pull up the nutrients, but we'll talk about that more later. But the two main types of roots are tap roots, which are found mainly in dicots, angiosperms, and fibrous roots, which are found mainly in monocots. So there's our two types, tap roots versus fibrous roots. And then in some plants, the primary root grows long and thick, and this primary root is called a tap root. And a carrot is an example of a tap root. So you can see in our picture here that a carrot, we have the little green shoots and the leaves shooting out of the top, and we have the underground carrot. And if you did not know, a carrot is actually just simply a root. It is called a root vegetable because we eat it as a vegetable, and it is just the root. It is a tap root, to be more specific. So that's our first type, a tap root that is a more long and thick root. And then our next type of root is a fibrous root, and these roots branch to such an extent that no single root grows larger than the rest. So as you can see in this picture here, it's almost like a little branching off and a little almost like web-like looking type thing. So it's just one little grows, and then it'll split, and then it'll split to a point where it's just like a big tangled mass. And they're found in grasses. I'm sure if you've pulled up weeds before, most time they are going to be this fibrous type root. So those are two types, fibrous root and tap root. So those are our two main types. So now we're going to look at root structure and growth. And roots contain cells from dermal, vascular, and ground tissue. So this is going off their structure. They have all three types of our tissue that we discussed. And so we're going to look at where exactly those are found. So a mature root has an outside layer, the epidermis. Remember, we said that would be dermal tissue, which would be like the skin. And it has a central cylinder of vascular tissue. And so vascular tissue, remember, is our xylem and our phloem, the water and nutrient transport. And between these two tissues lies a large area of ground tissue. So there's what the filler would be. And then going back to, maybe this is part of its function actually, the root system plays a key role in water and mineral transport. And so here is, we're going to break down and look at what the root actually looks like. This picture on the right here is actually just, if we took a root and sliced it in half and looked at the inside of it. So we're going to start from our outside and work our way in. So the root surface is covered with cellular projections called root hairs, and root hairs provide a large surface area through which water can enter the plant. You read an article about these, and we talked about them again being composed of dermal tissue. So you can see the little hairs, and they're just going to help take up as much water as possible, because the more surface area you have, the easier it is for you to get more water. So that's the function of the root hairs, to provide a large surface area through which water can enter the plant. Then our next one is the epidermis, and all your pointers up there going to that tannish area, so it's this tannish area down here on the left as well. And this is just the most outermost layer that protects the root, and it also will absorb water. So the epidermis, the outermost layer, protects the root and absorbs water. So then going inside to, now we're in the blue area here, we have the ground tissue, and they gave a fancy name as the cortex. So inside the epidermis is a layer of ground tissue called the cortex. So just know that that is this kind of filler area, almost just kind of give it some more structure and support, called the cortex, a fancy name. And the cortex extends to another layer of cells, the endodermis, and the endodermis completely encloses the vascular cylinder. So if you look at your picture, it's almost like the same type of cells that are found in our epidermis, but we know the term endo means inside, and you can see it's just in the inside layer there. So the endodermis is like an epidermis on the inside, and it surrounds our vascular cylinder. And the vascular cylinder is simply a fancy way of saying where the xylem and phloem are located. So xylem and phloem put together are going to make up our vascular cylinder inside this root here. And it's just a central region of the root that includes the xylem and phloem. So vascular cylinder, fancy way to say xylem and phloem put together. And then, so those are our main kind of tissue. So now we're going to look at where growth occurs. So roots growth in length as roots grow in length as their apical meristem produces new cells near the root tip. So this area down here where this circle is located, that's where all the new cells are going to be made that will help the root grow. because if the root never grows, a plant would never grow. So the roots grow right here at the tip, and these new cells are covered by the root cap, and that protects the root as it forces its way through the soil. So we're not going to have our new cells just randomly exposed to everything that's going to be out there in the environment or out there underneath the soil. So we have to have a root cap that is going to protect our new growing cells. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions.